Michael Chandler versus Dustin Poirier feels like the fans' main event. But do you feel like, Mark, that people are really underestimating Chandler here?
I feel like people are treating him extremely disrespectfully, to be honest, leading into this fight. You know, you hear a lot of people say, oh, he's 2-2 in the UFC. He doesn't deserve all these pushes and everything like that. But you look at his fights, they're absolutely cracking. His credentials speak for themselves as well in previous accolades and other organizations as well. And people act like they're not excited for this fight. A Michael Chandler fight gets everyone out of the seat. I'm not bothered if he wins or loses in his past fights in the UFC. You are there for it all day. What about yourself?
Yeah, 100%. I definitely agree. I feel like a lot of people are talking about Chandler as though he's a bum or he's washed. Do you think, let's just relax a minute here, right? You know, his losses are perfectly respectable, perfectly acceptable. You know, it's just because you lose doesn't mean you suck. You know, if you're fighting some of the best fighters in the world, that's going to happen. And I feel like if he'd have really got his head down, he could have won that fight with Justin Gaethje, but he was just so focused on being entertaining. But, you know, I feel like this is a great chance for Chandler to come out and show people why he deserves that respect. And I do feel like it's such a shame that fans are so disrespectful of him. Because like you said before, he's got all these accolades. He's doing really well. I just wish he'd have come to the UFC a little bit younger. Do you feel like if he can beat Dustin here, he's in title contention?
100%. And I think that they both are in saying that. I heard Dustin do an interview. We made some shorts about it as well, where he's talking about this is a must win for the both of them. I mean, imagine if Dustin loses. His last fight was at 269 against Charles Oliveira, where he got submitted, and he hasn't been active since. And if he loses, where does that set Dustin? And if Chandler loses, where does that set Chandler as well? They're both in a must win, can't lose situation almost, because that poses a question as well of if they lose, whoever, where would they go after that? I mean, I think that Dustin's in the stage of his career where he can do more, I don't like to say prize fighting, but, you know, like more legacy fights, I'll call them that.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like that's what Dustin does, doesn't he? If he loses, he maybe fights Conor again. Not that I want to see him fight Conor again, but that's always on the table. Fight Masvidal, Colby, you know, go more for those exhibition bouts rather than title contention. Because you're right, if he loses against Chandler, he's not seeing that title for a long time, if ever. And I feel like it's the same for Michael Chandler. With him, you know, it's kind of last chance saloon, isn't it? You know, he's near the end of his career. He hasn't got long left. If he loses this, what? He'll be out of title contention for at least a year. Then what? He'll be 36, 37. You think, come on, Chandler, you need to step on the gas here and you need to get a win. And I really hope he can do it. I think he's going to come out determined. Do you think that Dustin is perhaps underestimating Michael Chandler a little bit? Because it feels like he is a little bit, and all the fans are as well.
I'd say, from my perspective, it seems like more the fans are disrespecting Chandler and underestimating him. Because again, in that same interview with Dustin, he's well aware that Chandler comes out explosive. He's well aware of his strength, power, conditioning, everything. And he's, you know, saying we've got a great team to work on that. I think he knows the danger of what's ahead of him. But I mean, you've got to be confident. You know, you won't get a fighter coming into a fight who isn't confident. Oh, he's big and scary, isn't he? You know, it ain't really going to happen, is it? So I wouldn't say it's really necessarily underestimating him. I'd say it's just taking what he deems to be the necessary steps in order to get the victory.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right there, Mark. But I do think that's all we've got time for. So if you can like, comment, subscribe, it really does help us out.